The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. What a game. What a season. What a team. The greatest Eagles team in modern history. Eagles fans savor it and rejoice.
Anytime you lose a Super Bowl, it's the worst feeling in the world. They'll stick with you the rest of your career.
Everything that's been accomplished to this point, it's great, but there's a desire to achieve more, and it's only intensified.
As the pressure gets higher, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back to your habits and your training.
Hurts. He is going deep, and it is caught. Touchdown!
I love when they doubt you.
For the second time, the Vince Lombardi Trophy is headed to Philadelphia. Eagles fly in Super Bowl 59.
And we get to go again here on CBS Sports HQ. We take you to the next week before anybody else. A look at your great games for week 2. And we lead things off with that Super Bowl 59 rematch. Bryant, McFadden, Emory, Hunt, here to dive into what was a 2-quarter game a few months ago. Hopefully we get 4 out of them this time. But Mac, my eyes off of what we saw in week 1 go to the offense of the Eagles and the defense of the Chiefs. I'm not sure we've seen the full form, obviously, here through just 1 week of either of those groups, but advantage offense once again.
No question. And when you go back to the Super Bowl game in New Orleans, what led to a big-time win for the Philadelphia Eagles was the inability of Kansas City to protect Pat Mahomes. And then, of course, they neutralized the ground and pound attack for Philly, but it led to passing opportunities for Jalen Hurts. Then if you look at what we saw in Brazil this past Friday, Kansas City had no answer for Justin Herbert, had no answer for the pass catcher. So that's what I'm looking for in this rematch in the regular season with Philly going to Kansas City. Will they find a way, Kansas City, to protect Pat Mahomes better? Will they find a way to slow down the passing attack? Because yes, Philly won that ball game against the Dallas Cowboys, but they didn't do so throwing the football around the yard. You better believe they're trying to insert the passing game, and you look at the success they had against the Chiefs in that Super Bowl, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Hurts try to repeat some of the successful numbers he had in throwing the football.
Emory, the chief concern was the lack of a pass rush in week 1. How important is it for maybe the offense to take up some of the onus too and keep that Eagles offense off the field with a stout run game that we also didn't see in week 1?
Well, here's the thing too. If you're looking at the Chiefs offense in this game, I think the key element is how they're going to attack this Eagles secondary, i.e. the cornerback position. That's where they have a chance, even if they're banged up at receiver, they can still attack these guys in the secondary. And on the Eagles side of things, I still want to see them be able to run the football inside. Dallas, quiet as kept, stopped the run on the interior. And I would have to expect coming into this ball game, looking at what they did last year in the Super Bowl, it's like, okay, they beat us throwing the football. Let's tighten up on the throw, on the pass defense, and can we, make sure they don't beat us that way? That opens up things on the interior for them to run the football, because the Eagles wasn't able to do that successfully against Dallas. They wasn't able to do it successfully in the Super Bowl. Let's see if they can do it now. I think that's how the Eagles have to look at it. But the Chiefs, they'll look at Adoree Jackson and company and try to attack them vertically.
Both teams in this matchup were a part of the early week 1 rollout, a Thursday night matchup, a Friday night matchup, but also big travel for one side coming back from Brazil. Do you factor that in at all, Mac, or because of the extra days and times, you don't necessarily worry about that as much?
Yeah, I don't factor that into the equation because they played on Friday night. I would assume they traveled at some point in time Saturday, was home throughout Saturday night, early Sunday morning. You had a full days of rest. You're probably not getting back to the facility, getting on the grass until Wednesday, and your normal regimen should take place. And you don't have to worry about traveling because Philly is the road team, so they will be the team that will travel to Kansas City on Saturday. So I don't factor that to the equation. I think if Kansas City, you're ready to get back on the grass right now because you're trying to get that bad taste out of your mouth from what you left out in Brazil to get into the winning column.
You don't have to wait till 4:25 on Sunday for a great game. We got a quick turnaround, a great Thursday nighter in front of us. And Emory, if I'm looking at a team that impressed most here in week 1, it's hard to look past the Green Bay Packers, but quick turnaround against another NFC hopeful.
Yeah, how often do they blitz Jaden Daniels? That's what I'm going to be looking for Green Bay, because if you look at what the Giants did, when they blitzed Jaden Daniels, he didn't have the success he had when they just sat back and was in zone, because he was picking that defense apart. But when they blitzed him, forced the issue, then he didn't have the success he had throwing the football. And when you look at Green Bay's personnel, they are actually better than the Giants at the inside linebacker spot with Quay Walker and also Edgerrin Cooper, who's going to be an all-pro this year, in my opinion. So not only do you have Micah Parsons on the edge, and you also have Rashawn Gary, Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt on the interior, you have two inside linebackers that are great run and chase guys that can also blitz and mirror, which you have at quarterback in Jaden Daniels. That's what I'm going to be seeing from Green Bay in this ball game.
You know what? The thing I love about Green Bay, defenders, the first two-level defenders, they have players who look like what they hunt. That's why their job is easier compared to some other teams. You talked about Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper, guys who are 6'3", 6'4", 240-plus, and running 4.4s and 4.5s. They look like what they hunt. You talk about Micah Parsons, who was a 4.3 guy coming out. He looks like what he hunts. So in terms of putting extra pressure on Jaden Daniels, you don't necessarily got to do that. Because you mentioned Rashawn Gary. What about Van Ness, who was a former first-round prospect as well, who looks like what he hunts? He's 6'4", 6'5". So not necessarily bringing extra hats in the blitz concept, but also having a spy who can run down a guy like Jaden Daniels because of the athleticism. So this is going to be a fun matchup. I'm so geeked that we don't have to wait till Sunday to see this two playoff caliber teams, two teams that have made quality additions, and I can't see what it looks like with Micah Parsons in a Green Bay Packer uniform chasing down Jaden Daniels, because he's seen this story before when he was with the Cowboys, but now seeing Jaden Daniels in a Green Bay Packers uniform, this is going to be a star-studded event in Lambeau Field once again.
It's going to be a blast to watch it go down. It is the youngest roster in the NFL in the Green Bay Packers against one of the oldest rosters in the NFL in the Washington Commanders. When you look at the pitch count in week one for number one, 20-some snaps
29. He had 29.
for Micah Parsons. What's the proper rest versus rollout for Parsons on a short week?
Short week, you know, when he had the post-game presser with Tracy, he said he was a little tired, but he made out healthy. So he's feeling good. So if he had 29 reps this past Sunday, let's go ahead and try to increase it by 10. Let's see, can we get to 39? But I think most importantly, you want to have him on the football field when there's situational moments, second and long, third down situations where he can really show up like he did against the Detroit Lions.
I will say this, if that's the backdrop for Micah Parsons and how he's feeling, if I'm the Washington Commanders, I go, hey, Jaden Daniels, you're the OC this week. Get out there and call plays from the line of scrimmage. Go spread this defense out. Full name it. Go 4 or 5 wide and let you pick apart this defense that wants to play fast. Now you got them thinking. Now you get them tired. Then you come back later on with your run game. So if I'm the Commanders and I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I'm letting Jaden Daniels call the offense from the field. I advise you from the side, but you get out there, go up tempo, tire that team out.
And real quick, what about the Commanders defensively? They dominated week one.
They did.
So was their week one success more about the team they played against, or is this the new norm for the Commanders when you look at some of the issues they had a year ago? They will be overly tested as well when you look at the balance that the Green Bay Packers have in running the football, and of course with Josh Jacobs and then throwing the football around the yard as well. So quality storylines associated with this Thursday night game that you want to make sure you got your popcorn ready, and you need to see this.
Only one way to find out is to roll that ball out, but we got to get these two some rest as well because week 2 is coming fast. A look at your CBS slated games in the early window. Jets and Bills, 1 Eastern time from East Rutherford, as the Jets with that moral victory from week 1 try and take an actual victory in week 2, but a tall task against a Bills team that rolled all the way back for an upset victory. Then in the 4:05 window, a pair, Broncos, Colts, Panthers, and Cardinals.